Would help if I put my microphone in to start, wouldn't it? So, for those of you watching the replay, welcome. I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm also hoping that the audio is going to be okay. So for everybody who is tuning in and watching, welcome to the live. It's a pleasure to have you here. Let me know if you can hear me okay down below. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Lindsay, welcome, darling. It's great to see you here. Carly, Jacqueline, Terry, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. So would you let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay, if the audio and the volume is all right? If not, obviously I may have completely messed this up. Morgane, Teresa, welcome. It's beautiful to have you on the live. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today. Mona, it's a pleasure to have you here. You sound great. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that so much. Jacqueline, love it, Jacqueline. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome, Teresa. All right, guys. So it's a pleasure to have you here. And for those of you who are watching the replay, welcome to this live. We're going to be talking about, and I put in quotation marks, twin flames, something that I'm kind of processing the name around at the minute. I would like to consider it this idea of a pure love coupling, right? When you meet those people, it's out of pure love. So twin flames is perhaps an old way of saying it, but for the sake of the knowledge of everybody, that's what we're going to be calling it tonight. So if you're watching the replay, I hope you enjoy it. And if you're joining as we are speaking, well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining and spending your time with me tonight. So Mona, pleasure to have you here. Marie, Carly, Liz, Terry, Liz, hey, how you doing? Mona, beautiful, thank you for that. Rhonda, thank you for joining. Sid, Alda, twin flame, twin is my journey since a while. I love it, Marie. Nicole, Teresa, pure love conscious coupling, absolutely, Teresa. I didn't want to take your words there. Janine, Alda, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. So thank you so much for tuning in. So if any of you guys would like to share this in any of the groups, I know for a fact that the Arcturian and Pleiadian group would be a good one. I don't think I can unless I have my thingy with me. No, I don't think I can. So we will leave that out. But if any of you guys would like to share that, that would be a pleasure. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy spending your time with me today. We're going to be going through some very interesting concepts. And I myself have always been well known for, should we say, changing things around and not actually coming from the usual as to what most people say. And that's what we're going to be doing in this live. So we haven't started yet. So for those of you who are joining, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here. Yep, Janine, yep. Jennifer, welcome. Ali, it's a pleasure. Melissa, Alexander, welcome, my friend. Thank you for joining. Isa, Vicky, Evelyn, Fern, Carrie, Yana, Sal, love it, synchronicity there, Sal, Brandy, Evelyn, Amina, thank you guys, welcome Vicky, Michelle, Leslie, it's beautiful to have you all here, look at this, look, so many wonderful people joining, Heidi, welcome, Mario, welcome brother, it's a pleasure to have you here, Carrie, awesome, I love it. That's all right, Ali, we're actually going to be talking about a lot of that today, so you know it's going to be a pleasure to share it with you. Is it Sagar? Is that how you pronounce your name? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I appreciate you. Yana, hey, how are you? Is that Yara? Yara, welcome. Tanika, welcome, darling. Thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, like I say, guys, I think Leanne, I think you can see you here, Faye. And if I haven't introduced or welcomed anybody, I apologise. It hasn't come up on the side. So welcome, everybody. Jolene, there we go. Leanne's popped up. I love it. And that's totally fine, Rhonda, because we're going to be talking about that soon. You know, we're going to be chatting about that soon. So, Leanne, welcome. Craig, Yosei, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Jennifer, awesome, guys. So, whilst we're waiting for a couple more people to come in, we'll give it another minute or so. You know, get yourselves nice and comfortable, get yourself sat somewhere, or if you're just busy, you know, it's a pleasure to have you tuning in anyway. But we're going to have a nice, relaxed chat today. And we're going to talk about, well, I say relaxed, I mean, who knows what might come up, but we're going to have a really deep conversation about some very, very important things, you know, and this idea of the twin flame journey, this idea of two individuals or multiple individuals along the timeline who connect with each other and bring healing and love and light. So it's going to be really interesting to have a chat about this. So Jennifer, Michelle, Faye, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Brenna, Mandy, it's so great to have you guys here. We have 3 twin flames and they could be in this dimension or other dimensions. Interesting. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will begin, and it's interesting enough because we're going to begin by the current story of the twin flames. Now, interestingly enough, I have never. You're going to be like, why am I watching this video if James doesn't have a clue what he's talking about? But, hang on a minute. What does that mean? I hope that doesn't mean that. Yeah, I think it's all right. The volume just came up. So, I have never actually been inclined to research the twin flame journey. And I've never ever been inclined to follow its process. I've never been inclined to understand about it and to listen to what anybody else has said about it. Now, I believe that is for a reason. Okay, so again, you guys are first going to say, like, my goodness, he's doing a live on it and he has no idea what he's talking about. I have a lot of idea of what I'm talking about around it, but I'm going to bring it round in a different way for you guys. So we know that the current story, a lot of people say that when you meet your twin flame, it can be very intense, right? I've heard people on YouTube saying it's intense, it's fiery, you know, it's like explosions and it's going to be difficult and it's going to suck and it's going to be painful and be careful when you meet your twin flame because it's going to be this and that, and all this fear is put around it, right? All this fear is put around meeting what is supposed to be the one or one of the most beautiful people in your life. So what I want to do is I want to have a look at this idea that it's going to be difficult and tough and hard. I wouldn't for a minute say that it's going to be easy. But in the same breath, I also wouldn't for a second tell you it's going to be hard. Because I believe that when it comes to meeting your other half, right, your other half, the second part of you, the second component, the second version of you, when it comes to meeting that person, there are a few things that could be in place to make it the most magical experience of your life, right? As most of you have beautifully said, and I'd like you to comment down below, how many of you have known that your other half was out there in the world? How many of you have known that for some reason you have felt alone your entire life? And I'm not just talking about your soul family, I'm talking about loving somebody. I'm talking about connecting with somebody on a soul level, connecting with somebody in such deep love that you just felt in your heart and in your gut and in your belly that they were out there. How many of you knew? Comment down below, I'm interested. All right, I bet it's going to go nuts. Because I knew from a very young age that there was somebody there for me, that there was somebody out there for me. I knew it. And time again, over and over and over and over and over again, I was let down, I was broken, I was pushed in pain, I was forced to grow. Very important point there. I was forced to grow. And I had all of these experiences of suffering in my life, right? All of these experiences of suffering around a partner, looking for her, in everybody who I used to come around. Doesn't mean that I was seeing everybody and connecting with everybody and loving everybody, but I was looking. I was forever looking for that person. If I'd come across somebody who I felt a bit of an energy connection with, I'd be looking. Is it her? Is she the one? You know, is she the one that I'm supposed to be with? Is she the one that I'm connected with? And I'd constantly be looking at it. It used to drive me mad. It used to drive me insane. It used to be this difficult experience of my life. But I knew. I always knew there was someone out there for me. And we'll actually go on to that topic a little bit later on. And yes, perhaps I met women in the past who have taught me massive and wonderful things about myself, but at the same time, I never considered them a twin flame. I never considered them this idea. It was just another lesson. It was another soul lesson. It was another opportunity to know myself. Right? It was another opportunity to know who I was and to know what I stood for and to heal and grow from what I experienced as a child. Okay, so when it comes to this idea of the twin, the first thing I wanted to talk about in this live is changing the script, right? Changing the script from this idea that we have to suffer around meeting our twin flame and that we have to be in pain and that we have to go through this hell on earth when you meet your twin flame, and to realizing that truly the way you meet your twin flame is by working on yourself. Right? The way you meet your twin flame is by working on yourself. It is by knowing yourself. It is by understanding the things that you love about you and by healing and by realizing what is true. I'll give you an example. I always used to try to prove my value to the women in my life. Right? I always used to try to prove my value to the women who came into my life. It was almost like I'd be trying to prove that I'm a good man, and I'm trying to show them, I'm trying to introduce these things and do this and do that and try to show. And of course, and we're going to go into this as well, this idea of the good guy, right? The good guy and the bad guy. I've had blokes in the past, I've had men in the past who've said, you'll never get the girl, James, because you're a good guy. I can't tell you how much rage and fire that used to bring up within me when I used to hear that. Because do you know what I used to think in my head? I'm like, I don't give a shit what you think, because I am going to forever be the person who I feel in my heart, and I know for a fact that I will meet someone who will meet me on that level. Right? I met a lot of people that weren't ready to meet me on that level, and likewise, I met people who I wasn't to meet on their level, right? Levels, tiers, we're moving up, we're progressing, we're growing, we're learning, right? It is about understanding that we have to work on ourselves, heal ourselves, embody ourselves. Because let me tell you for some very, very true reasons. The reason why I was so desperate to find somebody is because I was so alone with myself. I was so alone with myself, and I realized that I didn't like being around me because I didn't know who I really was. You see how this is? How it comes from within and then emanates without? And when I finally dove within me, and I realized that I didn't need to be such a fiery, aggressive guy, and at the same time I didn't need to worry about being loving and nurturing and kind and feminine. When I managed to bring both of these two energies together within myself and merge them and bring them to me in this beautiful dance of compassion and love and movement and fire in my life, that is when I finally began the journey of meeting the woman who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And it all started within. It wasn't about meeting somebody to learn. It wasn't about meeting somebody, oh, well, you might meet your first twin flame and it's going to be an inferno where everyone's going to burn and cry and it's going to suck and everyone's going to hate it. It didn't have to be that. What it did have to do, and you'll notice, guys, love and light, you'll never see me making too many statements, but what did have to happen is I had to venture within. I had to ask James Malins, who do you really want to be? What ignites your soul? What ignites your passion? Who are you as a man? And it's only then, when I began to walk the true path of meeting the woman who I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, and not supposed to in any written law or any soul contract or any other reason other than I choose to spend the rest of my life with that woman. And so does she. Because again, it is a mutual experience of two people falling in love, or, as I like to say, rising in love, because why are we falling, right? We're not falling in love with people, we're rising in love. Our vibrations are raising higher, we are connecting on deeper levels. We're connecting on a level of love that a lot of people in humanity don't fully understand yet. Because the level of love that you can reach when you really meet your twin flame or your pure love consciousness partner, it's kind of cool, isn't it? Pure love consciousness partner. Thank you, Teresa, for that, because that's Teresa's beautiful way of putting it. When you meet that person, even I have no idea what's possible, because I'm exploring that at the minute. When we meet that individual, when we meet that person for the first time, it isn't going to be tough. It's not going to be difficult. It's not going to be the worst experience of your life. For a certain reason. And I would like to suggest that the reason why it won't be the most painful experience of your life is because one of you will be ready to put your hand out to the other. Right? One of you will be ready to put your hand out to the other if they need it. And this is where we begin to understand the real journey of a twin flame or a pure love consciousness partner. It's pure love. It's pure unconditional love. And when you stand there and you can see that there is some things that are going on, and maybe both of you've got a bit of healing left to do. If you can stand there and put your hand out to bring yourselves in and to embrace each other and hold each other in the deepest levels of love, this is when you found the real meaning of your soulmate, the real true definition of your soulmate. Because imagine this, right? You go out there into the world and you're like, I'm ready to meet my partner, I'm ready to meet them, I'm alone, I'm fed up of this, I'm fed up of spending my life alone doing what I'm supposed to do. And there are people out there telling you that it's going to be like hell on earth. People are out there telling people that to meet your twin flame, it's going to be painful. I'm like, how can we follow that path? Like, I don't want to walk. I've had enough of the pain. I'm leaving the pain to go to the love. I don't want to go from the pain to the pain. Like, that defeats the object. Right? It defeats the purpose. But again, and let me just say here as well, let me really break this down. It's not to say that there might not be pain. I'm not here to tell you it's going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. But what I am here to tell you is that it won't feel like you're climbing up a mountain. Right? Okay, I'll share it. Last year, I met somebody long distance. I never actually met them in the physical, but I met somebody. And the connection was very fascinating. It was very, very fascinating. I didn't quite understand it at the time. And during that connection, I used to tell people, oh, well, I'll see how it goes. Oh, well, I might meet them. Oh, well, it might happen, and it might be this, and it might be that. Right? It was an if, it was a but, it was a maybe. But this year, I met somebody and it was instantaneous knowing. It was an instantaneous, this is it. I found them. I know. And through the law of free will, this individual could, she's probably watching and laughing right now, she could quite easily walk the other way and go and do her life and go and do what she needs to do, which is fine. And that's okay. Because I would have to accept that in the deepest levels of love. But we are both on the same page. Right? And again, it's the whole point of free will, that we are both on the same page. But it's about knowing. It is about having that internal knowing. And I always knew that it was, you guys know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You are walking, I know for a fact, a lot of you guys right now are walking through life and you have it in your heart, if you haven't already met your soul part, your soulmate, the one you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with. You know in your heart that the men or women you're meeting at the minute, you know if they're not the one. And some of us pursue those relationships regardless of the knowing that they are not the one, and that's okay, because there might be some very valuable lessons in there. I know for a fact I had a few. But it is about realizing to let go of this idea that it is going to be all fire and brimstone, that it is going to be all pain and suffering. And I noticed a few people did mention that you have many twin flames, and some of them are here to help you to grow and expand, and possibly. But at the same time, like, this is a magical thing. This is, again, something that I don't even think that I fully understand yet, because it's not a part of this world. This is very important that you guys understand. So if you have a pen and paper, write this down, right? The twin flame journey, the pure love consciousness journey, is not a part of third dimensional Earth. It is something much more. You can have a connection with the deepest love of your life, and you can reach the highest levels of pleasure by looking at each other through a phone. I didn't think that was possible. But I promise you now that you can reach heights of ecstatic pleasure by looking at each other through a phone. Now, some of you might find that's a little bit insane. Trust me, I didn't know what was going on when it was going on. But this is something that I want to share with you, because a lot of us in life, we are settling for less than what we know we deserve. We are settling for people, love and light to them, there's nothing wrong with them, whether they are a-holes, whether they are angels on earth. We are settling for people that we should not be settling for. There are people like yourselves who need to know your value, who need to know the love that is within your heart. And you need to know that no matter what happens, You are worthy of meeting the person that ignites your soul just as much as you ignite their soul. Because this is what is coming to the world, where we begin to meet the people that we are deeply supposed to connect with. We are here to meet the people that we are supposed to love on the deepest levels, with no barriers, with no concerns, with no fears. Because we healed ourselves enough and we explored ourselves enough to know what we can really give. You can give, some of you, and I know you can, maybe all of you, you can give the deepest forms of love in your heart to another, but there are just a few things that are blocking you from doing so. Maybe you believe you're not worthy. Maybe you believe that that it's not real, that there's something wrong with you, that you're this and you're that, and you're all of these beliefs that have been brought up by men and women who have been trying to defend themselves and protect themselves from the pain, instead of moving forwards in love and exploring these truths with people around them. It's time. It's time for us to let go of the old story of the twin flame journey. And it's time for us to realize that it is not about a twin flame journey. It is about a pure love journey. It is about a fifth dimensional love journey. It is about something that is much higher than we have ever experienced on earth. Okay? Than some of us have ever experienced on earth. Okay? So, interesting. You know, it is interesting to understand that the beliefs around these ideals can be broken. And I'll give you another example. When you meet the person who you've always supposed to meet in your life, the beliefs that you're not worthy of it may stop you from receiving it. Right? And this is why I keep saying over and over again in videos that we have to know our value. Right? We have to know our value and we have to come from love. Doesn't mean you can't feel anger. Doesn't mean you can't feel hatred and resentment and violence in your heart. Doesn't mean you can't feel those levels of energies. But what it does mean is that we must choose what we really want. Because we're capable of feeling those. It doesn't matter who you are, you're capable of feeling those emotions. But what do we want to come from? Who do we want to be? I want to be a man who comes from love and who supports and nourishes the partner who I'm with. I want to be able to show them that they can tell me anything and nothing if they choose to. That they can do anything and be nothing if they choose to, with sacred boundaries. You know, I was having this discussion with this individual and, you know, he was saying that it's like letting, you know, you're both free on the deepest levels of the world. But at the same time, you wouldn't be going and sleeping with two people at the same time. Because it's not how it works. People may disagree with this, and that is your preference, and I love you either way for it, but it does not work that way. It cannot work that way. It cannot work that way. Right? This is why when people say about, you know, open relationships and things like that, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. But what I am here to tell you is that it doesn't work like that. Again, there's a statement there. I don't make many statements, but it just doesn't. It's never, my soul has never resonated with that. It's never felt that. Ever. It's never felt it. So we have to understand that when you really do feel that depth of love, it's something else entirely. It really is. So I know there's been a lot of comments, and I'll shut up for a minute and I'll try and go through them all. I don't know if I'll be able to, mind. Oh, thank you so much for the comments, guys. There's been so many. I appreciate you so much. Okay. Okay, yep, beautiful. I have met my twin flame. I love it, Jenny. That's totally fine. Met him and lost him. I apologize. Sorry to hear that, Vibu. Once again, love it, Samantha. Alright guys, well, what I will say is if you want to ask any questions down below, if you want to challenge me or if you'd like to ask any questions, then feel free to do so. Rhonda says, I feel my other half may have been in a previous life, but they are not here in this incarnation. I'm interested, Rhonda, what makes you believe that? I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, you could be totally right. But at the same time, do you believe that perhaps there might be somebody here for you? You know, someone who you'll be able to meet? Love it, forced to grow, yep. So Sky says, I've also been dreaming of him. It's so beautiful but so sad when it ends, don't you think? The dreams may be a premonition that they are on their way. So you see, what you have to understand, guys, as well, is that as we are moving into these new energies, this new wave of love on Earth, right, that we're trying to embody and bring, I say trying to, I'm spending my entire life in pursuit of that. What we have to understand is that the energies that are coming to Earth, the energies that are beginning to embody themselves on Earth, means that it is giving you a much better condition to meet the people who you love. Take, for instance, the Centre of Enlightenment, okay? The Centre of Enlightenment is a place where you can express yourself. The Centre of Enlightenment is a place where you can talk about what matters to you and about who you are and what it is you want to share so that you can begin to heal and grow. Again, speeding up the process of meeting and being ready for the deepest love of your life. You know, so it is, again, it's about understanding that as we walk through life, as we begin to see the truth around us, for instance, that men are not better than women and women are not better than men. It is a union of divine oneness. You know, that as much as human beings are still fighting for these other ideals that are going around in the world, there are those of us that are letting go of all of it and are thinking ahead into the future, that are welcoming people into their arms with open arms so that we may move into the deepest forms of love. Because the more we explore this, the more we move into this and the more we feel this love, the closer you're going to be to meeting them. 25 years of my life I waited. Some of you have waited longer. Now is the perfect opportunity. It is the perfect moment and the perfect time to meet those people. We just have to keep that faith in ourselves. We just have to stay focused, stay with love in our heart. Work through your stuff. If you think you're useless, if you think you've got no value, if you're not worth it, begin there. Because this is the whole point. We now need to change this journey so that when you meet that person, you just feel it, your intuition, right? You know in your heart that they are the one. And you don't need to ask anybody. You don't need to consult me or your friends or your family or the YouTubers that are talking about this stuff. You just know. I didn't need anybody to tell me. I just knew. People would be like, oh, well, what about this? Oh, well, what about that? Oh, go and do this. I'm like, I don't need your advice. And I'm not asking for it. I know. Now, that might sound quite arrogant, right? That might sound quite, oh, wow, James, what you think? But what it is when you have that inner knowing, and again, this is the balancing of the masculine and the feminine. In my opinion, there is such an importance for both. Because if we don't have a connection to our masculine and our feminine, you could be too soft and allow people to infiltrate your mind and share things with you that are not true. And on the other side, you could be too masculine and you could be rejecting the idea that it comes along. So when you merge them both and you have the strength and the intuition to know, and yet the softness and the gentleness to flow with it and walk with that, you're able to bring something else out into the world that is just, into yourself, that is just immensely powerful, you know. So look here, I love it. And here's another thing. So Brenna, thank you so much for sharing that. Some of us aren't, well, I don't know. This is a question for you guys, you know, and this is something to explore. How do we know? How do we recognize? Right? In my opinion, it takes time. When you meet somebody, it's going to take time to introduce yourself to each other's energies. I'm very fortunate that last year I began to work on sensing energies and feeling energies. Where are my crystals? Right? I began to work on sensing and feeling energies and vibrations. So therefore, when I meet people, I instantaneously know. I instantaneously know, and I can instantly feel how someone is or how someone is being. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that, and you have to be aware of your human side as well that could play tricks on you. But you just end up knowing. And if the other person is also in tune and in connection with their energies, it's going to make the process so much easier. So why am I saying this to you? You should write this down in a notebook if you have it. Work on your ability to feel. This one's massive. Work on your ability to feel. Because if you're still closed off, and I was, and I actually began to close off as well, if you're still closed off, if you're still angry that you haven't met them, if you're still trying to figure out, you know, if you're a good person or if you're got any value or anything like that, work on knowing your value and work on opening up. Because when you open up with sacred boundaries, right, doesn't mean open yourself up and allowing everybody to come in and experience what it is you have to offer, or who you are, should I say. What it is it's opening up with sacred boundaries. I've already opened myself. You guys know this. This is why you're watching the video, and thank you to the, you know, almost 100 people who are watching. I opened myself up and allowed people to come into my life. I showed them who I was. But at the same time, I also had sacred boundaries. Because there were people that were a little bit snotty with me. And in the deepest levels of love, I showed them love and I showed them compassion, and I stayed focused on that energy. If you are closed off, and if you've still got hatred, and if you've still got anger for partners in the past and people who you had relationships with, it's time to work through it. To learn to forgive yourself and anybody else around you. Which is not always easy. Okay? It is not always easy. And trust me, I'm the first one that understands that. It is not easy. It can take years. But this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is why the Center of Enlightenment exists. So that we can work through this in a safe environment, in a safe place. So if you guys haven't already, I encourage you to join that Facebook group, join the Center of Enlightenment, so that you are able to work on yourself in a place that, if you feel is safe, will be safe. That's it. I'm holding the light in there. Teresa, Lindsay, Vicky, they're holding the light in there. And this is what we're doing. You know, we're holding the place so that people can learn to explore themselves. Who they are, what they care about, what is important to them. This is why it was made. So, okay. Samantha says, it's a difficult journey, but it's about evolving spiritually, and he is igniting something within myself. We connect like no other. It's undeniable. He is helping me to heal, and I'm helping him as well. And that's beautiful, Samantha. You know, that's beautiful. Again, it's this dance. It's a dance. It's a dance between each other. You know, you hold each other up. You're able to think about each other. This is the most important thing, right? For men and women. One of the most important things you can do as an individual is learn to consider the other person as well as yourself. If only the whole world knew that thing. One of the most important things you can do is learn to consider the other person as much as you would consider yourself, with sacred boundaries. All right? If I was to turn around to my partner and say to them, go and cook me dinner, or go and do this for me, or go out and do this, or you know, I'm going to go and do... If I was to speak to my partner in this way, if I was to call her all the names under the sun, if I was to even joke about calling her certain names, I would expect her to leave me, or if not completely end the love with me. Why? Because I'm not thinking about her when I'm saying those things. I'm not considering her when I'm saying those things to her. And it's because of this lack of consideration, this lack of truly thinking about that person, that we end up losing the connection. And the same thing again, if they were attacking me and perhaps manipulating me or doing this or doing that, I would then have to learn to detach myself from that scenario and then ask myself the right questions. Ask myself how I'm feeling about it. Ask myself what this means. The same with you guys. There is a balance between sacred boundaries and there is a balance between detachment. And I will say it again, none of you deserve to have somebody who does not consider you. But remember, there is also a sacred boundary. If you are not truly in balance with yourself, if you are not in balance with the man or woman within, with those two energies, and you're not considering them, maybe there isn't the right time for you to be with them. You see, it's not always about us. And this is the sacred journey between these two pure love energies. It isn't always about us. It is and it isn't. Because when you meet that person, the other half, the twin flame, the pure love consciousness, you become whole. And therefore, as you are spinning and moving around this complete circle of love that you have for each other, one person is considering the other, one person is considering the other, right? In both sides. It's the yin and the yang, right? You are merged and connected, and one of you is in the other as you are in them. And therefore, this is how we understand the real journey behind meeting your loved one. You have... Okay. I would recommend very highly that you be ready for it. Prepare yourself for it. Do not expect them to heal you, as some of the YouTubers would say. You know, it'll be a healing journey. Everything's a healing journey. Every waking moment of the day is a healing journey, because you're either experiencing more pain or you're learning and healing and growing through it. All of it is a journey. So why don't we start the journey within, and then when it comes to meeting them, it's going to be like laying on the beach and looking at the sun for 10 hours. It's going to be bliss. It's going to be beautiful, lovely. I'll tell you from experience. So again, it's about understanding, you know, like, how do we prepare for something so cosmic that we may not fully have the understanding for it in this moment? And that is how I believe. By working on ourselves, working within, learning to consider others without saying... This whole idea, I really have to share this with you guys. This whole idea of fixing somebody, it's broken. It's broken. The idea that you can fix another human being is broken. And if you are attempting that, if you are trying to do that, if you are trying to change somebody, you're going to be climbing up a mountain with a boulder in front of you. When you meet somebody, you should be looking within them for their attempt to change themselves if they choose to. If you meet them and they've still got insecurities and fears and doubts and worries, it's not your job to do that. It's your job to hold the light and hold the love around them and for them, but they must do it themselves. And this is probably one of the most important things. One of the most important things. They must be willing to do it themselves and be ready to do it themselves. Because this journey of the quote twin flame and the quote pure love consciousness, it is a sacred responsibility between both of you. And I'll tell you for why. Because when you meet that person, the level of power that you begin to embody within each other is astronomical. It's God level. It's God and Goddess level power. And there is a massive responsibility around that. There is a huge responsibility around that. Right? Just like these videos, just like these posts, I'm always considering the input of my actions. I'm always considering what may happen based upon what I say. We have to understand that there is a responsibility that comes with it. And maybe I'm going down the fear path. For some of you may say, well, you've just told me not to be afraid of it. Now you're making me feel nervous and anxious about it because I've got to have responsibility with it. Perhaps, and I apologise for that. But it's just about knowing that you've got to understand, not everyone's going to understand what's going on in your life, let alone yourselves, possibly. So if you can trust yourself, if you've healed and grown enough to trust yourself, you're going to make the process a whole lot easier, you know? So, anyway. I appreciate all the love, guys, I really do. Totally right, Sid, I agree with you if you're still here. Welcome, everyone, I appreciate you all who are joining. Julie, yeah, of course you do, and they deserve you as well. You know, and if you're working on each other, then again, that's the most beautiful thing. I love that, Faye. Isn't that some incredible synchronicity? It's beautiful. Sean, welcome. The highs are way too high with twin flames and the lows are way too low to get up from. Well, again, it's depending. You know, like, it really is depending. Like, is it too low to get up from, Vibu? Or is it, you know, is it just about exploring what that means? I made a vow to the person who I've met that I will walk through the fire with them if necessary. I'll walk through anything. It doesn't matter if it looks like it's a hindrance to me or if it looks like it's going to cause me pain. I will walk through it with you regardless. Why? Because I believe in us. Because I believe in us, in who we are, in what we are. I believe. And this is again the key. It's about knowing that you don't need to do anything. Stop it, James. It's wise to find somebody who believes in you as you believe in them. Because I know that some of you are with people, and I mean this with the deepest love and light, you're with people that don't believe in you. I was with someone that didn't believe in me. They thought they did, but they really didn't. We have to believe in each other. We have to believe in what we are, in who we are, and what we're doing together. You know, like this is some of the high level things, because again, it's, you know, if you can believe in each other and what you stand for with each other and the love and the trust you have with each other, it becomes something beautiful, really, truly beautiful. You know, so yeah, I appreciate the comment. It's my pleasure, Jasmine, if you're still here. Thank you for being here. And Tasha says, I didn't always know about a twin flame connection. I married 15 years ago and found out a year ago that he was my twin flame. Beautiful. Courtney says, I knew when I found him, my husband is the yin to my yang. It is such a beautiful thing. I feel in order to appreciate your twin flame, you have to go through lots. Absolutely. Well, yeah, you have to go through the right amount of soul lessons that are right for you. You know, like, it might not be a lot. It might be a couple. It might be nothing. You might have been raised by a mother and father that had the infinite love for you and knew how to connect with the higher realms, and therefore you knew what it was like to live in pure love consciousness. So therefore maybe you didn't need any soul lessons, and this is what we need to explore. Because moving forward, whether we are parents or fathers or mothers, or whether we are just in together, as we now bring children into the world, if we are able to show them what real pure love consciousness is, it's going to make finding their partner the easiest thing in the entire world, because they'll know it already. We were never taught this stuff. Some of us, most of us, we were never taught this stuff. I was never taught this. There was never a curriculum in school. They were too busy moaning at me because I was talking in the back of a science class that I didn't care about, instead of showing me what it actually meant to be in pure love consciousness. Maybe I wouldn't have suffered as much as I did. So the point is that now moving forwards, what we do is we begin to show people what this means. We begin to show people what this really is for all of us, you know. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate you all, guys. Deepest love and light to you. Appreciate that, Stephanie. Love it, Brenna. Yep, rising in love. You see, this is it. We're changing it. We're rising in love. We're not falling in love. Who wants to fall? Unless you're on a trampoline, then it's quite fun. We are rising up in love. This is what it is. Tanika says, so true, I had never even heard of twin flames until after this spiritual breakthrough and deeper inner work. Then I developed a connection with my soul and began trying to make sense of the most beautifully deep, safe and unconditional senses of love that I could just not explain. Absolutely, and this is the thing, like sometimes we can't explain it, but that's because we haven't explored it deep enough, because we've never been shown it really, you know. So this is the beautiful thing, like slowly but surely we will understand it even more. Love it, guys. Thank you so much for the comments and the love. Yep. Jackie says, would you say the terms soulmates and twin flames are the same? Again, it comes down to the logos of humanity, right? What is the logos? It's the wording, it's the phrases that we use in humanity. I would say they are the same, you know. It's like saying, many religions say, like the universe, energy, love, vibration, consciousness, it's all the same thing. You know, consciousness is energy, some consciousness is pure love. You know, it's about understanding the truth, about the depths of our reality, the depths of who we are and what we're here for. You know, if we can understand these, we realise that twin flames, soulmates, your deepest love partner, your partner you're to sit in pure love with, it's the same thing. You know? And in my opinion, I have one. You know, I know people say we have a lot of them, but in my opinion, I have one. One that it's supposed to be with. You know, and again, like, this is what we explore. It's supposed to be one. That's it. This is why, like, the mentality of some men and the mentality of some women, where they you know, sleep with many individuals, and that's okay. Huge disclaimer, that's all right. It's okay. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I'm not saying you're a bad person or that you're this or that. That's okay. Whether you're a man or a woman, I don't care. It's all right. It's your choice. I never interfere with your choice. It's your free will. You do with your life as you choose to. And I personally will never try and interfere with that. It's interesting, however, to explore the idea as to whether you're truly happy doing that. For some of you, maybe that will have really hit home. Are you truly happy? If you are, that's okay. Again, I'm not here to, I'm not here to knock you, my goodness. Like, I don't care what you do or how you do it or whatever you choose to do in your life. That's all right. You do what you want to do. But are you happy? Because if you're not happy, this is where I would like to extend my arm to you. I would like to extend my hand to you, or I'd like to extend my voice to you and share to you that there is another way. There is another way to find love. There is another way to be in love. There is another way to connect with the deepest forms of love within yourself. And your value is enough for just one individual to enjoy who you are and every aspect of you. But again, I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong with either way. It's an exploration of what you want. I'm here to help you, to guide you, to love you on the deepest levels, to find what makes you happy. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. That's the only reason, really. Is so that I can help you to find freedom and happiness within yourself. So you don't feel chained down. You don't feel like you've got, all these other labels and things around you that make you feel horrible. I want to help you to find love within yourself and then out there in the world. I find love in the trees and the plants and the animals now. I find love in the birds in the sky and the sun on my face and the ocean as I'm breathing it in and putting my feet in the water. I find love everywhere. Love is not just confined to an individual. Love is confined to knowing the truth about our reality, to knowing the truth about what it is that we are doing here, why we are here. It's an exploration. Hence why I will never try to interfere with your free will. Never. It is an exploration of the deepest forms of love that we have inside of ourselves that we can then go out there and share in the world. Because people say that your twin flame is a reflection of you. And I've again always had an issue with that, because I'm saying, well, if I feel broken, if I feel in pain, if I feel like I'm suffering, I don't want them to feel that. I don't want them to reflect that. So why should I expect that? I'm just going to look to speak to and enjoy being around the people until I've got myself to where I need to be. Right, these are the things we explore within ourselves. Are they a reflection? I don't know. Again, that term has never sat right with me. Maybe it's true, maybe it's false. I don't know. Maybe I'm just don't know what I'm talking about with that part. But it's never sat true with me. Why are they a reflection? I've been in the worst pain in my life. How am I supposed to get out of my pain? It's like people say they're a reflection of you, but I'm suffering and I don't know how to get out of it. So therefore, I'm never going to find somebody because I'm suffering. Like, it just felt wrong to put it that way, So therefore, what we do is we look within and ask ourselves the question: what do I want? I want to be happy. I want to find love, quote. So therefore, I'll find it in myself first, and that is when I will be ready for them to walk into my life, is my opinion. And my experience. Totally true, Teresa. I absolutely agree with you. Carlene, welcome. We have many, and everybody welcome. I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't even keep up with it. It takes you to another dimension. I totally agree with you, Faye. And it's my pleasure, Carrie. Oopsie. Okay, Jacqueline says, what do you think about purification, the female purification? What if you try to flirt with men and you get shut down spiritually? As in, you try to become intimate and something from the fifth dimension comes through and stops them. It has happened more than once and I have been celibate for almost 6 months due to this frivolity. What I would say, Jacqueline, is that when you meet the person you're supposed to meet, you'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I, for one, have never entertained the idea of talking dirty with people who I've kind of just met or I'm kind of like, really speaking to. Never really sat well with me. I'm just like, it's... To me, making love with somebody is, as much as it can be anything you want to make it, it's also sacred. And this is important. Making love with your partner can be anything you want it to be. Get adventurous, get the whipped cream out, the strawberries, whatever the hell you want to do, all right? But it's also sacred. Do whatever you want to do in the bedroom. Explore it however you choose to explore it, but it is sacred. And if one person or the other does not feel safe, does not feel comfortable, does not feel like they can open themselves to their partner, then we are going down an entirely different conversation. And this is a conversation that many people may not be ready to hear. And I will briefly touch upon it and say that you should begin to ask yourself the right questions. And the right questions are, am I with the right person? And is there things about me I need to heal and grow through? Because maybe I'm not ready to share that kind of stuff. No, I'm not. That's okay. There are certain moments in life when we have to understand this truth about what we are. And we are a soul in a human body. When you're making love, you're not just making love in the physical. You're not just, feeling each other and being with each other and embracing each other. You're also connecting your souls together. Or at least it should feel like that. You should feel safe. You should feel like at the depths of yourself you can explore the beautiful feelings and pleasures the world can give you without feeling expectation, without needing to do this or needing to do that, or feeling like this is how it fucking is because of what videos on the internet say and what the guys down the pub say or anything like that. You should be able to explore it in the deepest ways because you feel safe to do so. And this right here, this part, is one of the things that humanity has suffered with the most. Because making love with your partner has been twisted and destroyed over the years. People talk about it in ways that even they don't really believe in. And we have to understand that making love with the person you really care for, like I say, you can do whatever you want. Doesn't mean you have to be vanilla. Doesn't mean you have to be plain with it. Do what you want. Be adventurous with it. But at the same time, you keep the respect and compassion for each other. You keep the fire, the passion that you have for each other when you're deeply connected with that person that you feel like you can just completely let your fucking soul go with. This is the key. And for the men who are watching, I love you. We have been lied to. We have been lied to. And it's caused a lot of pain. We've been lied to and it's caused a lot of pain in the world. And we have to realise that it was never our fault. It was not our fault. People I was around, things I was exposed to, they never knew it. They didn't have a clue what they were talking about. But the things we were exposed to have caused a lot of pain in the world. And for the ladies who are watching, some of you may even do it yourselves, and that's okay. But it's time for us to realise the sacredness of this act together, the sacredness and the depth of this act of love between you or anybody. Even if you don't believe that you're twin flame and you're still with them, it still must be sacred. Right? There is a lot of work we have to do in humanity. And this is why we're working on it. This is why we're working on it and why we're feeling it together as a collective and as a people. Why we are realising that the things that have happened, as horrific as they may be, at this moment they're okay. Some of you will not agree with me with that, and maybe I agree with you. But if we can move forward and we can embody the responsibility of healing and nurturing everybody around us, no matter what has happened, with sacred boundaries and with detachment, we can begin to change the world. I know for a fact that I will be going out there and giving men and women the opportunity to know the truth around making love with their partner, as well as many other things. And I know somebody else in my life will be doing the same thing with me. Because these things are the truth of life. These things are the truth of where we can go if we understand it at the deepest levels. It really is. It really is. I love that, Faye. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really far up the conversation. I might scroll all the way down, and I hope you guys don't mind if I miss some of the comments. Yeah, your twin flame is the same energy as you are as you continue to work on yourself. I agree with that, Brenner, I really do. Magali, welcome. Teresa says, pure love consciousness couples, the beloved finding each other. Some are an incarnation, some are. I love it. I love it, Teresa. Thank you for sharing. There is so much truth. I appreciate that, Shannon. Thank you so much. Leslie, that may be confirmed at some point. Okay, we will do a live about our... That's awesome, Michelle. If you're still watching, it'd be a pleasure to hear. It really would. Listening from Denver. I love it, Shannon. Welcome. Love it. Linkara says, I'm really struggling to connect in love as I feel my idea of love is different to most of those I meet. The love itself is not hard, it's lack of connection so far. I'm not sure if this is holding me back as I really do try. Anyone else? What I would say, Linkara, is you have to understand that, again, we are in a society where not many people understand the things that we are talking about in this live right now. Right? Some guys would be like, sacred love, sacred protect, oh, it's sacred, oh, shut up, Jen. Some guys would be like that. Some girls would be. Some women would be. Because it's all they've ever known. They've not known to understood anything different. They've not known that actually there are even deeper forms of pleasure when you connect on that level than there ever will be on a physical level. Like when you meet both of those two together, the spiritual and the physical, you pass out. You'll be passing out because you just can't, the energy is that insane. The energy is that phenomenal. And these are the things that we were never told. This idea as well, the word tantric has been poisoned. The word tantric has been poisoned. It's more than that. It's been made to something again. It's been molded by the third dimension. We're more than that now. We're moving into the higher realms of pure love and pure light. Sometimes it's unbearable to feel it. It's like, I don't even know if my human body can actually contain this. But we're moving higher than that now. And these are the things we must realise. So, and thank you for everybody who's been watching this for this amount. I appreciate you all so much. Yeah, again, guys, if I'm missing anything, I apologise. I'm trying to get to some questions as well as we're going through. So Jasmine says, I have a question. Are we all meant to meet a partner, or are some on the planet not meant to? My question for you, Jasmine, is how do you feel about that? Because the thing is, there are a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, well, some of you are not going to be destined. I'm like, I'm sorry, God, I didn't realise you were reincarnated on Earth and you're telling me how to live my life. It's like, sorry, like some people are saying, like, who am I to say whether you're going to meet them here or not? The only person who will really know is you. The only person who will ever know if you are going to meet that individual is you. And it would be my recommendation to realise that when you work on yourself, when you are in love with yourself, because of the healing, the growth, and the things you've been through in your life, they'll just walk on in. They'll just knock on the door, they'll walk on in, and you'll be like, where have you been my whole life? God damn, where you been my whole life? Right? No one will tell you whether, and if somebody tries to, Jasmine, you tell them from Uncle James. No, you don't do that, but you tell them, that's okay, that's your belief, but it isn't mine. I don't know if I'll meet them or not. And that's the fun of it. That's the beauty of it, is that you don't know when they're coming. And then when they do come, it'll be so surreal, you'll be left gaping with your mouth open, and they'll be like, are you okay? Is everything all right? And you won't be able to, it'll be beautiful, out of this world. So, yeah, trust your intuition on that. Pascal says, you just know, you have the complete peace and landing. I totally agree with you. Milo says, I've connected with my twin flame and it's so amazing. How we can laugh. I love it. Absolutely. This is what I say. You'll be able to talk about anything and everything, it is what it is. Sky, I will do that in a moment. So Gail says, are we allowed more than one twin flame in a lifetime? Again, to answer that question, Gail, it comes down to this idea of how can I tell you what's going to happen in your life? People go to mediums and they go to psychics to find out their future. I've never done that. I'm like, I don't want to know what my future is. That's the whole point of discovering it, you know? I don't want to know what's going to happen in my future. I just want to explore it, and then when it happens, cool, I'll just deal with it on the way. And if you go to psychics and mediums, that's fine. But at the same time, like, I would suggest that the one thing to focus on is loving yourself, is knowing your value. Because then when that happens, it depends, you know, like, maybe the energy of the twin flame is what will come to you. Maybe you'll meet them once in 1 year, and then they may depart the world, and then you meet them again. I don't know. I can't share that information with you. That's your sacred journey. No one can. That's the infinity of the universe. It's and the potential of the reality we're living in. It is infinite. You see? So it's like almost impossible to answer that question. So Sky, yes, and again I appreciate that, and I will talk about sacred boundaries in a minute. In a nutshell, because it is such a massive conversation, to understand your sacred boundaries is to realise that you are and never will be here at the expense of anybody else. You will never be here on planet Earth to be at the expense of anybody else. So therefore, in understanding sacred boundaries, again, it is about loving yourself first. It is about knowing your own value first. And then who can hurt you? This is my honest question to all of the beautiful people watching right now. If you have those sacred boundaries, if you have that ability to detach from things that don't serve you, who on this planet can hurt you? Maybe they will still hurt you, maybe then, but I think that in any case, you're able to heal through it much faster because you're not staying there. You're not staying in that energy, staying in that environment. You're setting yourself free, you know? So let's have a look here. Valerie says, curious as to how you learn to feel the vibrations of others. I have had many people tell me I can't be read or sensed, wondering why other sensitive or high vibes say this. Again, that kind of comes down to your ability to open your heart to others. And also their ability to feel what you're feeling. You know, so how to feel energies? Begin to go into the silence of meditation and connect. You know, like this may seem like a solid substance of crystal, but it's actually pure light. This is pure light. This is pure vibration. This is sacred geometry in its finest form. And as you hold it, you begin to feel the patterns of that geometry. Why? Because you are exactly the same. And in your brain, your pineal gland and the other receptors of your mind, it can pick these up. It can feel these energies and these vibrations. So this is how we do it. I apologise, guys. There are a few questions that may have been connected to things I was saying, and I obviously haven't got through the questions quick enough. Rhonda says, it's just an inner knowing that my twin flame is not here. My soul feels alone, even in relationships my whole life, whatever lessons I'm in. Okay, Rhonda, well, I will never tell you what your intuition is right or wrong. Again, that's not why I'm here. Does it make you happy, or does it upset you that you believe they're not here? That would be my question. Because maybe your calling to them may make them reincarnate again. Maybe, because there are no times or boundaries in the other dimensions compared to the third dimensional linear Earth, maybe they've already heard your call. Maybe they're already walking the Earth simply because from this live onwards, you make a decision that you really do want to meet your soulmate in this world. And maybe they heard you and they decided to reincarnate, and who knows? Interesting thought, isn't it? So Emma says, I've recently decided to let my twin go to move into wholeness within myself as the whole journey is within anyway. I feel my masculine is in all men I meet, an energy that dances through beings, an energy that is present in us all, and a reflection that is present in us all. I love that. And you're probably totally right, Emma. I say probably because, you know, if I haven't experienced what you experience, how can I say? And this is the beautiful thing, like I do believe that. The energy that runs through ourselves runs through the other person as well. And this is why the connection is like a divine oneness. It's a one-time thing. It's a one moment thing. Like, you can't have two at the same time. Can you imagine the confusion? Connecting with two of yourself at the it's like, can you imagine the confusion? With the human body and the human ego and the human aspect? Part of it wouldn't make sense. But I totally agree with you. Welcome everybody. If you've just joining or you've joined and I didn't say hello, welcome. I'll try and get through a lot of the comments, guys. I appreciate you, Tanika. Thank you so much. Pascal says, if you meet him or her, you see yourself in him and her. Balance. Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, that's it. The beauty of it, you know. Jennifer says, any advice for those of us with our flames in spirit? I would actually like to pass that question to Teresa, Jennifer. Through Sacred Love, because I think she may be able to help a little bit more with that question. So she maybe already has as I scroll down. I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much, brother. That means a lot to me. There you go, Teresa did. Yeah, I love it. Yep. Okay, so there's a question. There's so many beautiful comments, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Evelyn, you can write a book on this, James. I think we all could, Evelyn. I think at this point we could all write a book on this. What if school became... Jennifer says, what if schools became centres of pure love consciousness? I mean, I think that's comment of the year. I think you'd end all suffering in humanity if that was the case, you know? Like, it would just be completely astronomical and out of this world if schools were able to do that. So, yeah, 100%. I love that, Vicky. Your meditations are beautiful. Marinella, welcome, darling. Bring me a higher love. I love it. That's okay, Lorna. Welcome. I'm going to have it as a replay as well. Although I don't know how long we've been going through. Probably been going through quite a bit now. Amy says, my husband passed away, but I think we were twin flames. Do you think you can have two twin flames? Again, now here's the thing, right? So it's, you know, people saying, oh, well, it's an energy, right? It's an energy that is not bound by time or space. So in my opinion, if you have both met, all right, I don't know. So Amy, if you're still watching, darling, and for anybody who's watching, I don't know. I don't know if you can have two twin flames on Earth. What I do believe is that the individual I met, there is one. In my case, there is one. The way I connected, there's one. That's it. And that is a knowing in my soul. My soul knows that. It isn't James Malins that knows that. It is my soul that knows that. So to answer your question would be coming from an ego place, because it's my ego that knows. My soul within my ego that knows. So in answer to that question, I believe that if the energy just transcends time and space, then who's to say that you can't walk with that energy again in the future? I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. But this is the beautiful exploration of life. If it feels right for you, if you end up meeting somebody else and it's, again, another cosmic explosion of light within you, then perhaps the answer to that question is yes. You know, and this is the exploration of this topic. I'll never give you facts often. Probably a hypocrite saying that. I will never give you too many, should we say, quote, facts about this topic. It's an exploration between all of us, because our scenarios are not the same. For some of us, we are not experiencing the same things, and therefore you must find what your gut tells you. What does your intuition tell you, you know? So, nothing matters, everything matters. Absolutely, Michelle. I love you. I love you saying that. That's awesome. Appreciate that, Lorna. Bless you guys. I appreciate that so much. Ryan, Karina, thank you. So Emma says, one is a beautiful connection between souls. One is the interconnectedness of us all. There is a way of loving without owning. The value is not diminished depending on the number of lovers we choose to take. Maybe some have more access to the oneness through multiple lovers. Perhaps. Again, perhaps. You know, this is why I mean, and as I'd mentioned before, you know, this whole live is opinion and experience based. You know, there is some intuition that's coming forwards, but we're all exploring and experiencing different things at different times. You know, so I appreciate that, Emma. Emma, possibly. You know, possibly. Wizard of All. Wizard of Oz. Karina says, you sound scarily like my brother, and the way you're speaking of free will is potent to the religious. So in interesting, Karina, if we talk about the Christ consciousness, we then ask ourselves the question, was his intention to create religion? I will leave that question to those of you who are watching. I like to believe that there are certain angelic and Christ conscious level energies that do embody themselves within me, but there is a knowing in my soul that religion was not what it was supposed to be. There were too many rules. There were too many interferences of man who knew what they were doing, unfortunately. I'll give you an example that the divine feminine on all aspects of the Egyptian priestesses and the other aspects of the world, they were hindered and they were suppressed and they were murdered for bringing the divine feminine into the world. So therefore, hashtag Jesus man? Maybe. But in the same sense, it's never about religion. Especially this. It is not about religion. It is about something above that. Because religion had rules and regulations and things you had to adhere to. This is freedom. This is freedom to explore the love within your soul, to explore the love within your heart so that you don't feel that you have to burn in hell for making a mistake. It isn't about burning in hell for making a mistake. It is about making the mistakes, if you need to, so you can learn how to love on an even deeper level. Maybe that's upset some people, I apologise for that. You know, I'm not here to knock religion, but we're evolving so quickly, all of us. We're evolving into new energies and new ideas and new understandings. Like, this is something else. This is not religion. This is something deeper. So, thank you, Karina. I appreciate the comment. So, no doubt, guys, I think that I have literally, I think there's some comments from like half an hour ago. I really apologise for not keeping up with the comments. There's so many beautiful comments. I wish I could speak to them all. I appreciate it so much, guys. I tell you what, though, what I would like to do, I'm trying to find some like questions and things. Alright guys, what I'll do is I'll scroll down to the bottom, and what we'll do now is just to sort of end the, can we continue this topic? Absolutely. And by all means, you know, guys, in the Center of Enlightenment, like if you want to share your experiences, if you want to share your ideas, if you've disagreed with me in this live, please, in the Center of Enlightenment, share your perspective, right? I am talking from a facet of myself that is not yet completely wise in it all. So some of you will have differences in opinion, some of you will have differences in ideas and in understandings. So feel free. You know, the Center of Enlightenment, it is a place where you can share you. That's the point. You know, it always, always, always was about sharing you. And is. I mean, was. What am I talking about past tense for? It is. It's about sharing you. So please, feel free to go into the Center of Enlightenment. It's a Facebook group, so you can join it. If you have already joined it, share this in there. If you're brave, and if you just would like to, you know, and it would be a pleasure. So, Terry, thank you so much. I do need to drink some water. I tend to just go and go and go, don't I? Violetta, good question when it comes to the Adam and Eve relationship. Again, I can't make full comment on that for one reason. Because this idea of temptation, right, like I'm. Is this gonna come across the right way? I am tempted to make love with my soulmate in any way they wish to explore with me. I am tempted to do that. Am I supposed to be punished for that? Is it a sin? Is it a taboo? Have I even got the story correct? Do I even know what I'm talking about? So in answer to that question, I can't give you the real answer. Again, for me, it's like those stories, it is a hindrance, it is a prevention of exploring ourselves. You know, like I would never have got to where I am if I didn't explore the truth of what is true and what isn't true, you know? So I don't know if I can answer that question. So, all right, guys. Exactly. There you go, Jessica. So, you know, Adam and Eve are based on the goddess Isis and Osiris. Yeah, and absolutely. And I also believe it's about those energies as well. You know, it's about those energies, those connections between those two energies. So, temptation is a story created to control. I would heavily be suggested to agree with you. You know, I would be very inclined to agree with you because, you know, I've had advice that I should give in to temptation and it was garbage advice. Absolutely garbage advice. And had I have taken the advice, it would have caused me a lot of pain and suffering. You know, so, you know, yeah. Anyway, listen, guys, I appreciate you all so much for spending this evening with me. If you didn't, you know, hear what I mentioned about this Centre of Enlightenment, you're more than welcome to come and join it and share your love and light in there. And post in there from you. You know, put it, that's the point in there. A few people have been posting things from other places and we want to really keep it you, right? How you feel, what you want to explore and what is within you, you know. So, and I hope that comes across the right way. So listen, guys, if you want to know, message me. If you need the name of the group or the link, I'll happily help you with that. We can indeed, Teresa, continue the conversation in the group because I'm only a facet of it. You know, there will be many beautiful souls who will be able to complete the full story of a pure love consciousness coupling, or a quantum couple is a pretty cool way of saying it. So listen, guys, I appreciate you all sharing the evening with me and sharing your time with me. It's an absolute pleasure. Take care of yourselves. I love all of you, and we're moving forward more and more and more. You know, the world is changing beneath our feet, and it's because of the love we are choosing to embody. So take care of yourselves, love yourselves, focus on yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.